Why, hello, 8th graders. Happy day to you. I'm going to present our direct instruction for this week, October 26th through the 30th. I'm just going to start our video today to kind of show you a little bit of a bridge of where our notes left off last week. So if you're questioning, like, Scoozy, I've already seen this, just know that that is on purpose. Okay, so these were notes from last week. We talked about major bodies of water, the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, the Gulf of Mexico, the Great Lakes. We talked about a compass rose and how to determine directions. Talked about western states, eastern states. Talked a little bit about how we can compare and contrast different maps that show regions of the United States. And then we finished off talking about lines of latitude. Okay, so in that big, thick red line is the equator, and then continuing north are the lines of latitude that say how many degrees north something is from the equator, and then going down 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, that's how many degrees south of the equator something is. Okay, so we finished off there for our notes last week. So I want to give you some time to take down this title, direct instruction for October 26th through the 30th. I'm only really expecting you to write down that title and not so much the little reminder. That's for me to remind you of a note. So as you write down direct instruction for October 26th through the 30th in your quarter 1 notes page, I want to share with you a reminder about, what's the purpose behind taking notes. I'm really trying to teach you that when you take notes, they're valuable because you can come back to them as a tool. So you're going to be able to use your quarter 1 notes page to help you take future assessments. Okay, if it's in quarter 1, right? If we're doing an assessment from quarter 2 and all of your notes are from quarter 2, then you'll be using them from your quarter 2 notes. Okay, work on really trying to stay organized and put time into taking quality notes. Okay, another note that I wanted to make sure that I shared with you, I didn't type it up here, but I wanted to say was anytime you need to pause to take notes to make sure that you have everything that you want to have in there, pause. Okay, because I have a 15-minute limit on Screencast-O-Matic, I really want to make sure that I get through all of the material. So if you feel like I'm going really fast, it's because I know that you're able to pause the video and get the notes. Okay, I also would suggest doing the dual screen technique on your iPad when on one side of your iPad you have our YouTube video with Scoozy's notes, and then on the other side you have your quarter 1 notes, so that way you can look at the slides and your notes at the same time. Okay, so you're going to remember from last week we left off on lines of latitude. This slide is showing you facts about lines of longitude. Okay, they're known as meridians. They run in a north-south direction. So remember your lines of latitude ran in a west to east direction. Okay, they measure distance east or west of the prime meridian. So if you were to say, Scoozy, Northern Africa, what direction or what degree of east or west of the prime meridian would that be? Well, it depends. If you're looking at northeastern Africa, you would say maybe they're in the 20, 30, 40, sorry, can't count, 20, 30, 40 degrees east of the prime meridian. Okay, so they cross the equator at right angles. Okay, are equal in length. Interesting, because that showed us about lines of latitude. Those were not equal in length. With the North Pole and the South Pole, those lines of latitude around those two were smaller than the equator. Interesting. Okay. Again, feel free to pause. I would write this in my quarter one notes. You can use bullet points, underlining, bolding, any of that organization techniques that you want to try to tackle. Okay, so this is just a slide that I created to show you the latitude and longitude, the absolute locations of a couple different locations in the United States. So the first one that I'm showing you, absolute location of St. Paul, Minnesota, it says 44 degrees north, 93 degrees west. Okay, this map right here is showing you St. Paul, Minnesota. Right here, this arrow. Next, I show you the absolute location of Washington, D.C. 38 degrees north, 77 degrees west. Okay, in this visual photo, it shows you Washington, D.C. Okay, it is interesting because in this map, I wanted to try to include a line of latitude so that you could see, oh, that's what that means. So technically, this 38 degrees north between here and here is 38 degrees. Okay, so when you're looking at these latitudes and longitudes of all of these US locations, you're going to see all of them are north, none of them are south, because our entire country is north of the equator. Okay, every single degrees that has to do with a line of longitude is west, because our entire country is west of the prime meridian. Okay, I know that might be kind of confusing, but the longer we just kind of try to sit and process it will help. Okay. I want to talk to you a little bit about human geography and human characteristics, the difference between human geography and physical geography. So the definition for human geography is that this type of geography deals with humans and their communities, cultures, economies, and interactions with the environment by studying their relations with and across locations. So that little, I guess, like partial paragraph, I guess it's not full sentences, but this little half of the square, it says the following are all examples of human geography: education, government, language, clothing, race, ethnicity, religion, art. All of these are examples of human geography. Okay. This slide has to do with physical geography. So we were just talking about human geography. This is physical geography and physical characteristics. So a definition for physical geography is this type of geography deals with the study of the natural features of the Earth's surface, especially in its current aspects, including land formation, climate, currents, and distribution of flora and fauna. Okay, so again, in this bottom half of the box shows you some specific examples of physical geography: climate, weather, mountains, rivers, deserts, all sorts of natural resources or physical features or landmarks, the topography. So try to really understand the concept of human geography and physical geography. Maybe what they have in common, but also like they're very different from each other. But they both contribute to the overall idea of the study of the world, right? So this next slide is going to be one of 4. So you'll see a regional overview for the United States, page 1. Okay, so there's only 3 more slides after this slide. So stay strong and realize you don't have to do this all in one sitting. So this slide has to do with the geography of the United States. There's 6 bullet points there. So the first bullet point, it says The United States extends from the Atlantic to the Pacific Ocean. Also reaches to the Gulf of Mexico. Its total area ranks among the largest in the world. The total area ranks 4th in the world compared to other countries. It is a huge landmass, and this country is rich in natural resources. This is page 2 of our regional overview for the United States. This slide is focusing on history, so there's only 4 bullet points, but still lots of good info. The United States was settled by immigrants from all over the world. The geographic richness of North America attracted immigrants from around the world. It's a huge part of our history. The United States has developed into a global economic power, and continuing immigration and constant migration of people are both reoccurring themes in our history. All right, this is page 3, still focusing on the regional overview for the United States, but really zooming in and looking at culture. Oh my gosh, to have one slide about American culture just doesn't do it justice. So that's why we do a regional overview. Okay, 4 bullet points for the slide. It says the United States culture involves food and shelter, religion, language, education, and political and social organization. A lot of those cultural elements from our country alone are really, I guess, cherished or noted or are important. Like they're recognized, right? Like people know these things about Americans because American culture can travel, right? The second bullet point, it says English is the predominant language. Technically, there is no official language. I think that that's so interesting. The last bullet point, it says a highly diverse population with people from around the world. That's a huge part of our culture in the US. Okay, so your 4th and final slide for this direct instruction this week, it says it's focused on our government. And this is maybe a little bit of a review for some of your notes, so that's okay if you're saying, oh, that bullet point I already have, I'm not going to write it down. If you are wanting to write them all down, you go for it, okay? 4 bullet points here. It says, our government in the United States is a representative democracy, meaning our citizens hold political power through elected representatives. We're also known as a federal republic, meaning power is divided between national government and state governments. Then that final bullet point on this slide, it says the personal freedoms guaranteed by the government has drawn millions. You guys, we live in a place that has a lot of amazing stuff going on. Yeah, like social media and negativity and stuff can sometimes point out all of our flaws, but we have some really awesome things to be grateful for, and we are free. That's huge. Okay, so I'm going to give you some time to just kind of wrap up. Again, you can pause, you can rewind. Definitely feel like you can reach out to ask some clarifying questions if you have any. I look forward to seeing you in our next Zoom call.